right, ladies and gentlemen, it is pretty clear that the month of April, it's just about started. It's March 31st right now. This month in April has been one of the most craziest things that have ever happened to Gacha Gaming, or that has ever happened to Gacha Gaming. We all know that there's a big issue with Genshin's English VAs, them bullying the new Kenichi voice actor, them hiding the full details of the SAG-AFTRA strike, and just doing a bunch of very negative things in the community, and it's clear that the situation has turned, especially in North America. However, it turns out that these English VAs are even getting mocked by the Chinese community now. If you're in America and you've managed to piss off CN because they typically don't give a shit about anything that we're doing, especially the devs, when you've angered this community, there's a lot of stuff that's going to be coming up. And we'll just go ahead and see how they managed to do it in real time. So yeah, Hero Hay's got a video. Let's go ahead, let's give it a look and see what our thoughts are on the matter.
Welcome back, guys. Hope you've been having a wonderful weekend. We've got a few updates to go over regarding the ongoing situation with the SAG-AFTRA voice actors and Hoyoverse, with many people across the internet and the Genshin Impact community especially calling out the SAG-AFTRA voice actors, essentially saying that the SAG-AFTRA VAs are being deceptive and manipulative, are basically gaslighting people about the truth of their strike. As anyone who looks into the situation can easily see that it's much more than the whole AI claims that the SAG-AFTRA VAs are trying to make. The finer details making it seem like SAG-AFTRA, the union, is really making some kind of power play, trying to essentially monopolize the industry, as people put it. This, of course, would come with many negative repercussions for non-union voice actors, despite the damage control that a number of people from the union have been trying to make, which as
Absolutely. You basically see any union VA talking online, all they're gonna say is, it's AI, it's AI, it's AI, it's for AI protection. Hoyo is just refusing to give us AI protection. Look how bad and evil they are. Tell them to sign the interim agreement now, otherwise they're against AI protection. The funny thing about all this is that Hoyo actually already has AI protection for its VAs in Japan, in CN, and for ZZZ in America through Sound Cadence Studios. And so, for some reason, they seem to have AI protection in pretty much all of their regions for all of their VAs, except for EN. And the only difference is that EN has this whole issue with SAG-AFTRA. And so now you might be able to view the situation as maybe SAG-AFTRA is actually the reason why there aren't these AI protections that people are begging for. Because that seems to be the only common denominator here. In every region that isn't affected, or game that isn't affected by SAG-AFTRA, there seems to be an agreement signed. Huh. Interesting. A little bit stinky.
Trying to make, which, as we discussed yesterday, has not been going well for them at all, as people are seeing right through it. People are also pointing out double standards and hypocrisy that these union VAs have, for example, conveniently breaking their own global one rule, in which it seems like these union VAs never should have been working on Hoyoverse games to begin with. Despite that, many of them are now essentially trying to control who Hoyoverse can even work with.
Isn't that funny? All of these VAs that are talking about somebody not following the rules, somebody trying to screw them over, they're actually the ones that broke the rules in the first place. They weren't even supposed to work on Genshin Impact because it's a non-union game, and union VAs are only supposed to work on union games. And now that they've gotten the Genshin Impact bag, that they've gotten the recognition, they've gotten the clear career benefits that working on a game like that has had for them, now they're going ahead and basically holding all of their characters hostage until they sign an interim agreement that has a bunch of poison pills laced into it that will fucking allow SAG-AFTRA to have way too much of a creative control over the game, over who they can or can't hire, and become basically like the rich kids club for anyone that's union. And to join the union, you have to pay a $3,000 application fee. And the union can arbitrarily decide that you're not good enough to join them even after you pay the $3,000. Let me show you all a little bit about Jacob Takanashi. This is the guy that replaced Kanish. These are his previous roles. He has 3 minor roles from one game, and then a minor role in another game from 2022. Yeah, I bet he just has $3,000. $3K just lying around when he has 2 kids. And probably like a mortgage on a house and shit like that. Yeah, he totally should have to pay all that money to join the union. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm sure he can afford it. I'm sure a lot of junior voice actors can afford doing that. Yep.
Then there's all the double standards with how some of them claim Jacob Takanashi is scabbing and going out to harass the guy, but turning a blind eye to some of the people in their very own clique who are essentially doing the same thing. The point being that all of this and plenty of stuff I haven't mentioned in this brief introduction is causing many people across the internet to have a very rapidly growing distaste towards these SAG-AFTRA union voice actors. But yeah, of course, there's more details than all that. Hopefully you've been keeping up with the news, whether that's from the videos that I've been making here on the channel or elsewhere on the internet. And so thanks for your patience. On to the updates. We'll start with this tag I got from Serious Lupin that says, "Hi Hero Hey, saw your latest video about the VA drama. Could you also talk about this?" Linking to a Reddit post.
This guy has got like the fucking gravy train. Hero Hey has like the gravy train fucking locked down. Bro just has people tagging him on Twitter to just make videos and then make some fucking money. He doesn't even like pay these dudes either. They just tag him because they wanted to see him make the vids. And he's like, all right, yeah, I'll take the 300, 400, 500 bucks. Hey, it's all good, bro. Yeah, I'll make the video. I'll make the video right now. Fucking, this guy's got it figured out.
And saying pretty much every post talking bad about the VA union in the official Genshin Reddit is being mass reported. First of all, thank you for the tag. And yeah, we'll definitely talk about that in this video, as well as a number of other things, including how the CN community is responding to the voice actors, which the title and or thumbnail probably already spoil, but yeah, the CN community is mocking these union voice actors. But yeah, starting with this censorship stuff, what may be the latest attempts at damage control, although before we read this, let me just mention, I don't believe there's conclusive evidence to what's going on here for sure, so ultimately make up your own conclusions on this, but let's take a look. We can see this post from 9 hours ago, reading, threads being mass reported. Funny enough, it looks like something did happen here too, as the post is now awaiting moderator approval. VOP elaborating on this in the comments, saying, the post where this user pointed out the issue, they've also made a list of posts being mass reported. Edit another list with more posts being mass reported. Edit 2 in case the content of my post also gets deleted. Here's what it said. As noticed by user living a lost life in a recent post, any threads related to the strike, the questionable behavior of some VAs, SAG-AFTRA, and even posts made by VAs who came here to clarify things, quote unquote, are being mass reported by some people.
So basically, if you're going in and you are making posts that aren't painting these VAs or SAG-AFTRA in a positive light, if you're just trying to like get all the details of the situation and then talk about how SAG-AFTRA and all of the ENVAs that are making public statements are being manipulative or lying through omission or trying to like hide or obfuscate things, your post will get mass reported and then automatically like sent for moderator approval. I don't even think they have anybody on the moderation team. I've actually been on the Genshin Impact subreddit during this time, and they have a mod that's actively going in and combating this. I think that this is literally just like SAG-AFTRA with some bots and maybe some of the VA communities with like, you know, we all know what VA communities are typically like. If you like follow a VA and you like stand them, I think you lose like 30, you know, like 30 IQ points automatically. You'll probably just believe whatever the VAs are saying without looking at through any further detail. And just be like, we need to stop them from getting attacked. We need to stop them from getting attacked. Report all the posts right now. How are these guys supporting the company? We gotta report all the posts now. There's probably a lot of people doing that as well. And then the end result is just, yeah, basically active censorship going on in one of the main spots to actually communicate this sort of stuff. Nasty, nasty situation overall.
Is there anything the mods can do? Actually, is there a way to contact them? Because I find it crazy that we're being silenced in a place meant for discussing stuff. We're now finally getting some answers on what's been happening these last 6 months or so, and it seems some people aren't happy about that. Edit 3. 20 posts all addressing the VA situation have been nuked so far.
So yeah, they're doing a pretty good job. And these are posts, guys, that are getting a lot of traction. Like 1.5, 1.6, 1.7k upvotes. A lot of traction, and they're being actively censored.
It's a very odd situation because what's happening is these posts are having the content removed and having this message that we saw earlier being put on there, that being post is waiting moderator approval. However, some of the top posts calling out the VAs are still up there, so I'm really not sure what's going on. Perhaps there was also a mass reporting attempt on those too, and they just didn't succeed. Like I said earlier, come to your own conclusions. Let's take a look at this response. Reads, there's also a bunch of people coincidentally showing up to chime in on the topic in favor of SAG that haven't been on the sub before.
Bots, astroturfers, and bots everywhere in the Genshin Impact subreddit. Except this time, it's bots and astroturfers that are against Hoyoverse rather than for Hoyoverse. It's a weird phenomenon. I don't think we've ever seen this before.
For example, this fish person, no activity in Genshin subs in a very long time, but suddenly since the last 2 days, 100 plus comments defending SAG and the strike. Checking out that person's profile, we can see it reads, plural trans woman. There are posts in here from years ago I would heavily disagree with now. I'll clean them out soon. I just don't use Reddit a lot. Yeah.
I feel like the part that like makes me believe this is 1000% a bot is like that first line saying just plural trans woman. First and foremost, no offense at all. But what the fuck does that even mean? What does plural even mean in the context here? That's the part, like, plural? Maybe they have like DID? Okay, sure.
Yeah, that's funny. Says they don't use Reddit a lot, but now apparently has 100 plus posts from the last few days defending corruption. And indeed, I'm not going to go through all this. We'll literally scroll for just like 5 seconds, but you can see their defense posts go on and on and on and on and on. But yeah, enough of that. I think we get the point. That being...
I don't know how Like, do people think that people are just stupid? Do these people genuinely think that any of this is believable? That somebody would just, like, decide out of the blue, yeah, hey, I know this Reddit account has been inactive for like 10 months, but hey, nobody is ever gonna notice the fact that we're just gonna start astroturfing the main Reddit and just shit out 100 comments for fun. Yeah, nobody's gonna notice that. Nobody is gonna notice anything stinky here. Yeah, it's like, we're not that dumb, dude. Like, all somebody has to do is just click check user, and they'll be like, what in the fuck is even going on here? And then make a video about it, and then you're just gonna look so stupid.
How the Genshin community is providing additional evidence that there is potentially a mass reporting attempt going on to censor and bring down posts that are critical of the Union VAs and the Union itself, as well as an influx of people flooding over there to also attempt to defend the Union. And now, I've repeatedly mentioned for you to please form your own conclusion on that stuff and consider letting me know what you think about it all in the comments.
It's very clearly artificial. It's pretty clear that SAG-AFTRA has, is expending some money because they know that it's going to be a very, very positive thing for them if Hoyo signs the interim agreement and has all of these restrictions and like SAG-AFTRA as the middleman in like all of their fucking VA hirings. 1,000,000% it is worth the investment if they do end up signing the agreement. But I feel like all they're doing in these efforts to like astroturf, mass report posts, censor the main subreddit, and, basically have their VAs straight up lie about the entire strike this entire time, lie through omission, I think it's backfiring on them. I think that public opinion has reached a point where people are just like, absolutely fuck this entire thing and fuck every VA who's been in support of the strike. You might not think that way, but I feel like a majority of people, now that they've seen all of the details and they've seen the amount of manipulation going on, oh boy, I don't think a lot of people are very happy because essentially, people thought that their Gensino Impacto voices, right? All of their favorite characters, they thought that people were going silent and not voicing the characters to like maintain the future, get AI protections, do all of this stuff, right? Because that was only like 10% of the agreement. And everyone thought that the strike was happening for a good reason. And now that people know that the strike was actually so that the game would become unionized and there would be so many more of these restrictions placed on who they can hire, all of these things, now people are like, so we had all of our characters unvoiced and the quality of the game has lowered this dramatically, not for AI protections, not because of that, but so that SAG-AFTRA could get their fucking bag. That's why these characters have been mute the entire fucking time. And everyone's been lying. Everyone has been lying the whole time. And so, I'm gonna be honest here. The people that were in the most support of the strike beforehand, now that they found out all the details and the true facts behind the matter, they feel fucking betrayed. They feel betrayed. And it's been going on for literally months. And the longer it goes on, the longer you've had the wool pulled over your fucking eyes, the more angry you're going to be at the end of all of it. And boy, oh boy, the community is fucking pissed because they have been misled for this long, and you cannot blame anybody that is not feeling very happy with the VAs right now. Obviously, it's terrible if you're harassing them. Don't do that, right? Don't send them like threatening messages and all that stuff. But I can understand the anger and the vitriol directed towards them 1,000,000%, because they have been lying for potentially more than a year this entire time.
Moving on to the next section, let's take a look at the Chinese community's response to the Union VAs, with the preface that being, these comments from the CN community came from a few days ago, so at the very start of this whole situation. In other words, things have also gotten a lot worse since then, so you can imagine how these sort of comments would probably be mocking the VAs even harder if we had the more recent ones. But still, let's take a look. This should be amusing. In a set of messages from Billy about a video going over this current situation, but once again from a few days ago, with comments collected and posted by the user Boijing, so thank you for collecting those comments. And so the first part of this seems to be the CN users responding specifically to the statement issued by John Patnoid, that being the first VA for Kenichi, who got replaced by Jacob Takanashi. Having all this to say about John Patnoid's statement. You view the character you voiced, Kenichi, as your own, but you didn't learn any of his good qualities. This is the price of the Turnfire. Exactly on point. And Kenichi is Kenichi, not anyone else. Next set saying, this is so pathetic. Saying, quote unquote, my character is just ridiculous. This is the funniest / most ridiculous part of the tweet. I've saw people said that non-CNVAs, especially ENVAs, love to tie themselves to the characters. They use the players love the characters to promote themselves, even saying I/me when talking about their characters. It's ridiculous. Sarcasm, a success. The ENVAs have successfully guarded their mission of protecting their human jobs from AI. Hoyo didn't use AI, they just changed the VA. Very reasonable. And so this next set of messages seems to be the CN users responding specifically to the reaction.
CN's got some heat, man. They managed to like not use any profanity at all, but they're just like absolutely hitting the nail on the head. The fact that you're just a voice actor, dude. Whenever I see a voice actor say that they are this person, you're literally their vocal cords. You're literally their vocal cords. You're not anything else. That was the character designer. That was like all of this other stuff. Like basically all the modelers, all the riggers. And to just say that like you're like the one person that is the unit when there's so many other bits of work that have been done by so many different teams in so many different regions. To say that you are the character when you're just one of the voices, when there are like 4 other dubs for it as well, it is some cringe ass shit. I'm gonna be real here. Like surely you can find a different way to market yourself, right? Than to claim ownership over something where you're like literally 2% of the entire work that was that went into it. I'm glad that they're calling this sort of cringe shit out. This is a little bit embarrassing. Like to see this many comments about it, it is kind of embarrassing.
From AI. Hoyo didn't use AI, they just changed the VA. Very reasonable. And so this next set of messages seems to be the CN users responding specifically to the reactions from other VAs who are harassing Jacob Takanashi. The ex-VAs get replaced and won't feed their voice to AI. The new VA gets a job. The players get the complete gaming experience. Everyone gets what they want. I don't get what the community is complaining about. The union is leading this. They're going to stir things up when they don't get what they want, but this time they're not going to get it no matter how much noise they make.
Isn't it so crazy how I feel like I'm pretty sure a majority of the community was like on the union side and like on the VA side up until they started doing all of this disgusting fucking bullying. And what that bullying led to was more people looking into the details of the agreement. And now that that's been done, it's a complete 180. Honestly, somebody could make a documentary or even a movie about this. Basically like how the fucking Flubtastic 4, you have like Paimon's VA, you have Kaylee Mills, you have whoever else basically responded publicly to the situation. You just have like this group of like superheroes that just completely fucked up the entire situation, depending on who you are. I think that they've actually made Genshin a little bit better after this, because I think Hoyo now has the green light to replace anybody they want. I think that there's going to be no public backlash to any future replacements in the future. In fact, if Hoyo starts replacing people, they're probably going to get like public applause for each VA that they replace. Now that all the details are out, it's probably going to be a cause for fucking celebration.
It's those VAs again? Wow. Do they think we play the game for a specific VA? Even if it is for the VA, it's for the JP VAs. But JP VAs aren't as bold and won't lash out to their employer. This can appear with JP VAs. I got Kenichi because of his JP VA. This is actually a pretty interesting point. If some people really do pull for characters, wish for characters because of specific VAs that they like, wouldn't the inverse also be true? That being, if people don't like the VA, they may actually not even want that character. There's already
people didn't think about that side of the equation, yeah. Hey, I'm not gonna lie, if I was somebody that was really pissed off here, and I heard that Kaylee Mills was doing a voice in a game, or doing a voice for a character, or if Corita, the Paimon person, was doing a voice for a character, or anyone that basically shit-talked Jacob Takanashi for just taking on a job to feed his 2 fucking newborn kids. If I find out that they're a certain character, if they're taking on a role in a different game, who knows if I buy the game or if I pull for the character?
Already been top posts on the Genshin Impact subreddit saying that the ENVAs who are acting all crazy should get recast. And if Hoyoverse thinks that their sales are also getting potentially hurt by these VAs, then it sure will be interesting to see where things go from there. This one calling out Kareem Vodiger directly, saying, swap out Paimon's English VA, please, so I can comfortably switch to EN dub.
Based CN.
If I were Hoyo, I wouldn't wait any longer and recast too. For example, if you were building a house and got a construction team to build the house, but they went on a strike for some reason and refused to keep building, you're in a hurry to move in, but you decided to wait out of politeness. But 6 months later, they still haven't done anything. Any normal person would change a construction team to build their house.
Excellent analogy.
A great analogy. We've already been really patient with them for letting this go on for 6 months. But if they're still not working after so long, then what's the point of keeping them?
Basically, it's just, until I get what I want, just fuck yourself. Just go fuck yourself in the interim. And people thought that what they wanted, the AI protections, was like a worthwhile thing. But now that people know it's more than that, they're just like, yeah, why are you even fucking striking still?
You guys can't fire me. I need this job. But I just don't want to work yet. Is this what they mean?
It appears that the Asian work ethic doesn't really translate well into like this weak sort of like Western American shit. That's kind of like it, right? I'm not gonna lie. Paycheck theft happens so often in the West, it's kind of ridiculous. Like, you have so many like baby fucking things going on in the workplace, so many like baby fucking people working in like these regular ass jobs, and they are just weak people. And I know I'm gonna sound a little bit, I might sound like a little bit like anti-Western here, but let's be real here, man. If you've been like a professional in the Western workplace within like the past like 10 years, you would know that a lot of people are just like pussies nowadays. They're like afraid to say certain things. They're afraid to have certain opinions, and just having like a little bit of baseness from like the Eastern side, like it does help out in the long run, because it kind of lets you sober up and realize, man, we've kind of like let things go a little bit too far. And all of this acceptance of the strike, yeah, I think people have realized it's gone too far.
I think this is ridiculous. But this strange situation does feel normal when it's within their community.
Exactly what I'm saying.
Yep, that's what they mean. A lot of people don't understand the situation. If you don't do the job, there's plenty of people that will do it, and within Hoyo's popularity, the people don't view you based on how famous you are. Even if they're a beginner, players will still play the game, because it's Hoyoverse. I really wish they would recast Paimon. Oh, another one. Even if they don't redo the current lines and just change the future ones would be fine.
Based.
Paimon's English voice is too high-pitched. She sounds more like those little elves than a small child. Every time I use EN dub and listen to her, I feel like my head is exploding. There's probably technical issues. One is that she just have way too many lines to redo everything, and second, they can't find a suitable replacement quickly.
Just find some dude that's willing to chop their nuts off for the role. I'm sure there's at least like 2 or 3 of them out there.
Finally, this exchange reading. Dang, ENVAs are kind of crazy. That's what American education does to you.
Okay, that's a little bit too far.
All right, well, that was amusing. Let me know what you guys think about those comments in the comments here. And now moving on to what I think is probably the last update we'll have in this video. And it actually involves Jacob Takanashi once again himself. So check this out. I've got a tab open from this post from 2 hours ago titled, "Wow, I'm sure the VS will be nice to him now." Oh, the thing is, that post is actually 13 hours old. That's just an old tab that I still have open. And when we go to the current one from 13 hours ago, you can see this also got hit with that post is awaiting moderator approval thing that we discussed earlier in the video. Quite odd, isn't it? But what's this all about? Well, when we return to the old tab I have open, we can actually see the post still. And we got Jacob Takanashi here saying, "Hey, I know tensions are high, but don't frickin' do this. If you send death threats to anyone on my behalf, too far, man, too far. Sorry you had this happen to you, Kiba." Responding to a tweet from Kiba Walker, who presumably is a voice actress, I guess. And she says, "Someone named Kokira Kira thought this was the appropriate thing to send me this afternoon." We could see an email here. It says, "Do us all a favor and end your life. It would really help the VA industry if you and everyone who condemns Jacob taking over Kinich just ended yourselves all at once." Some people in the responses have questioned how authentic that email really may be, but focusing on what the OP says, "Wow, I'm sure the VAs will be nice to him now," we can see some more screenshots that they include. The next one.
Isn't it funny that Jacob ends up being the newest guy to the team, the newest guy to the industry, and he ends up being like the most mature and compassionate and empathetical person throughout this entire process, even though he has been getting the most unwarranted and unjustified hate, like the most of it, basically been under attack from people that are supposed to be his coworkers. The only thing I'm glad about is the fact that public perception is entirely on his side. And he had at least a couple of VAs like Auroron's and Fremene's VA that have been in support of him as well. Bro has literally been tanking this entire time, and now he's throwing out a heel to the people that have been attacking him.
Thoughts that they include. The next one being Little Kribo, who responds to Jacob Takanashi, saying, "With respect, tensions would decrease significantly if you recognized and spoke publicly on the fact that voice actors aren't quote-unquote bullying you."
Some people deserve to be flamed. And while this individual definitely should not, under any circumstance, receive like any of the threats that we just saw before from like that Kira or like the Kiba guy, he shouldn't receive threats of those levels. I do think that they probably deserve a couple of messages here. Not ones as aggressive as that, but you'd probably be entirely warranted calling this guy a fucking idiot. Gonna be real here. He's so stupid, it's almost impressive.
If you truly didn't know about the strike, say so. If you did, say so. But voice actors are going to keep being attacked until then. The responses are not having this stuff. For example, a top response reads, "I hope Jacob continues to take the high road with his tweets
like he
and
is.
not give in to the urge to go on a tirade against people harassing him."
I feel like, bro, honestly, I want to see Jacob just pop off and completely incinerate one of these dumbasses on Twitter. I'm not even joking. Like, it would be so cathartic to see him just, like, weave something in that just, like, absolutely buries one of these fucking VAs that's been down his throat this entire time. Like, I feel like we're all just sort of, like, waiting for him to clap back. And it's going to be so poetic when it finally does happen. If it does.
At some point, bullies who know the people they are bullying are not responding the way they want will soon give up. I'm also worried that he will decide to step down as Kenichi's VA because of the constant bullying. Hopefully he doesn't, but I wouldn't blame him. But no one wins this mess. The VAs have made things so much harder for themselves.
Honestly, what I hope happens is that Hoyo ends up giving him fucking hazard pay. Wouldn't that actually be fucking amazing if it turns out that Hoyo is like taking into account all the bullshit that's going on and he ends up getting like paid more for like sustaining the role throughout all the bullshit? I honestly think bro actually deserves like some sort of like hazard pay at this point because he has been fucking tanking it.
Hope not. Stepping down now will make the rest of them think they can cyberbully anyone else who tries to replace a VA.
Exactly. I feel like Hoyo has to make a statement and they have to do something in this situation because essentially what these VAs are doing is trying to bully someone to the point where they quit the role because they're basically having like this whole like union, it's only us or you're against us mentality. And that makes it really hard for Hoyo to potentially hire more people in the future because now they're going to be in a circumstance where some people, they might be a great fit for the role and they would elevate the game completely. But because they're not in the union and they're not dick deep on the fucking SAG-AFTRA situation, then they could end up like people might just like not accept it or be like, oh, I saw what happened to Jacob. And so I don't want to take on this role. I don't want my coworkers going in and like harassing me for 3 to 4 days straight with like hundreds of thousands of followers. I don't want to be harassed by that on the regular. And so I'm just not going to take on this role. Sorry, Genshin. Sorry, Hoyo. Sorry, HSR. Sorry, ZZZ. And so I do believe that Hoyo they kind of have to take some sort of action here. They have to land down some sort of consequences, replace some of these VAs because they're acting so unacceptably disgusting that it's ridiculous. Sorry, Xenoless Zen Zero. My bad. Yeah, that's the right way to... I heard a VA pronounce it like that, so it must be the right way to say it.
Funny thing is, he didn't even try to replace. He got a job offer and took it. Another exchange reading, did not have Little Karibo joining in on my expectations. I'd think he would keep up with it, but not speak on it. Little Karibo has been going in on the new Kenichi and Oren's VA on Blue Sky, accusing them of lying. I'm glad Auroran's VA took a break from Twitter. Auroran's VA doesn't even belong in any drama. This man reached out to Jacob behind the scenes before engaging in any talks. The thing any professional should have done. Someone with that much class should definitely stay off Twitter. But I've taken time to look through Martin's involvement. Seems everyone's just playing devil's advocate and not caring about Jacob's side of things, the way everyone automatically sides with the union mob because they're already familiar with their striking history. Holy dragged out drama. Making these threats public isn't fixing either. Some PR training would have went a long way in this one.
The English VAs are so disgustingly unprofessional, it's ridiculous. Like, I genuinely believe that none of these individuals, they kind of like have only been able to have the positions that they're at because English voice acting, especially for like animes and, you know, like games, it has, especially like ones that are made by foreign companies, like Japan and CN, and then they come over to the US and need voice actors. It was such a like underdeveloped space where there was like a lot of people, a lot of voices that were able to come to the top, despite the fact that they have some of like just the worst professional ethics you have ever seen. The fact that you have somebody like Corina who's having a role as big as Paimon when they're quite possibly one of the stupidest individuals I've ever seen who doesn't have a single professional bone or fucking brainstem in their body is absurd. It's almost ridiculous that they were able to even have that big of a role in the first place. Yeah. I mean, it's just the lack of care and like the inability for them to like even have a slightly decent public perception is crazy, right? It's crazy.
If you didn't know, say so. I didn't know. Wow, dude, you're a liar. Jacob did a good thing making it clear he doesn't condone violence. He only ever needs to do this once. Best thing he can do from now on is not reply to any of these moral policing losers. And this exchange reading, y'all need to tell your fans to stop attacking us.
How does bro even have fans yet? He joined the game 3 days ago. How could bro even have fans yet when he joined the game literally 3 to 4 days ago?
Y'all sent your fans to attack him. Cry and seethe. Ironically, he has no fans. Respectfully and kindly. Someone can clock me if I'm wrong. But this either is his first VA role or his most notable one. He was pretty much unknown until he was announced. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I don't think anybody saw the announcement post for Kanisha's new voice actor and was like, oh, yes, the voice of Gray Graphite from Card and Seal that was released in 2024. Holy shit, he's voicing Kaniche? Woo! I don't think anyone was saying that. I don't think a single person said that. If they did, find me a link and I'll publicly apologize. But I don't think any fucking person said that. I'm gonna be entirely real here.
We've known him for all of like 4 days. He doesn't have loyal fans. These are just their own fans turning against them. Similarly to another comment we read, we'll take a look at this one that reads, Auroran VA. I talked to the VA, Jacob Takanashi, and he said he didn't know. Little Kribo. I don't believe he didn't know. Also Little Kribo. If you knew, say so. LMAO. And they have the face to demand him to make a statement for fans to follow for their sake after their treatment of him. I do not condone attacks against the VAs, but the fact they have the face to act like they're in a position to still demand things from him to save themselves is pathetic. While it was wrong, the only reason they are getting attacked is because they attacked him, and yet they still have no shame.
When you have the Genshin Impact subreddit, who has been notoriously known for standing the fuck out of VAs who don't deserve it, and they're going ahead and now they're mad at the VAs, you must have done something incredibly fucking stupid. You must have been doing something that was deemed so bad by even like the part of the player base that's like the easiest to convince. Sometimes you have to take a moment to reflect, right? You have to take a moment to reflect on your actions, and it's quite clear by now that all of these VAs have completely gone and fucked it all up. They look entitled. They look like they're gaslighting. They are gaslighting if we're being entirely real about it. And people just cannot buy any of this garbage anymore. And I'm so glad that it's happening. Because boy, oh boy, now we can finally play the EN dub of Genshin Impact in Honkai Star Rail without playing with characters who look like they have a disability because then none of them speak.
VAs. Publicly shaming him by saying he's a terrible person, telling him to enjoy Genshin because he will never get another role. Believe that referencing the Kirby tweets. Or not tweets, but, you know, Blue Sky posts or whatever. Continuing, saying how disgusting his actions are and talking about how evil he is for stealing the role of someone who's refused to come to work for half a year when he doesn't even know what's going on. Little Kribo says, you need to recognize and tell your fans we aren't bullying you. Also, you're either lying to Nathan or you're both in on it together. So yeah, it looks like the SAG-AFTRA VAs and their defenders are really only making things worse. Now let's go back to Twitter. In a second, we've got to take a look at some more things going on with Jacob Takanashi. But on the topic of death threats, check out this death threat thingy I got from like 8 hours ago because it's hilarious. This guy sounds like such a loser. There was like a Ruby thread going around and out of nowhere, this guy brings me up saying, I blame the spiteful redacted known as Hirohei. Someone else, Tiger Monsoon, replies and says, how the heck is it Hirohei's fault? And then this guy goes off and says, Hirohei was pretty successful in tainting the well long ago. He literally made a Rule 34 sub for Ruby out of...
Is this still on Genshin Impact? What is this?
...spite. That's not even true. It's a crazy thing to come up with. What the frick? Gets even crazier. He says, and the dude still does not shut the heck up about it, when he should be taken to the back of a shed and slaughtered like a kosher pig.
I'm gonna be real. If you write stuff like that online, I have to imagine you're one of the biggest losers in existence. I think of any person that's able to write statements like this online on Twitter, no matter if they're anonymous or not, I just think that they're the biggest fucking loser possible. I just have to think that they must be like super pasty. They look like they never go outside. They have like arms that have like a similar diameter to like the baby Coke cans. You know, like the baby Coke cans that are like this big or like this thin. Like, their arms probably have that diameter. They look like they would float away from a Category 1 hurricane, which a Category 1 is like, I do think that's like the weakest hurricane and doesn't actually do that much. There's just so many things that I automatically get an impression of. And the number one thing is that they would not be able to follow through on any of the threats that they're saying over here because they have to be a completely pathetic little pussy. It's just, like, anyone that types like this, I just think you're an automatic bum.
Bro, I think I've made 2 Ruby videos in like the last year. To say I barely talk about Ruby would be an understatement. This guy's crazy. He then tags me and says, at Hirohei, there is a reason why that one fandom hates you. And and how many more fandoms and individuals see you.
Where are we going with this, though?
You should have been kicked to the curb, but you are somehow still...
Is this still about the Genshin VA thing?
YouTube, touch some grass.
But this guy's just been, like, obsessed with him because he's got nothing better to focus on in his fucking life? Yeah, if you have a hater this dedicated... You know you've made it because somebody has made it like their life goal to talk about you and keep you top of mind. If you have a hater this dedicated that's going to follow you for this long, this is like their life mission. You have become their life mission, and that's how you know you've made it.
The lack of self-awareness, bro. And people don't even view me as a neckbeard. In actuality, it's like what this person said. Either view me as a femboy twink or a racist, bigot, xenophobic, homophobic, bigot, chud, whateverist. So yeah, that loser from a second ago really needs to get it right. It's not that complicated. Anyways, I just thought that was kind of funny, especially given the timing of receiving a message like that right now. But now back to Jacob talking.
Was bro just in the middle of OBS editing shit, and then that just came up, and he was like, "Oh, yep, let me sneak this in there."
Nashi, where he responded to that Kiba Walker person and condemned violence. Kiba Walker made this response to him that says, "I appreciate the repost and apology. However, like Little Karibo said, it would be very helpful if you made a post regarding the situation at hand for your fans to follow."
Did they all take like a college level class on how to make people not like you? I don't know if there's any other way for you to like get hated faster than this. Now everybody that saw your previous post about you receiving the death threats, then they see somebody come out to defend you, and then you proceed to just shit on the person who just defended you. Maybe now everyone's just gonna be like, you know what? Maybe the original message wasn't that bad. Maybe the original message that you received actually wasn't enough. Because, like, how is it that you're able to just be this fucking slimy to somebody who is literally only trying to help you? Yes, they just pulled you out of the water and into the lifeboat, and instead of you thanking them for saving you from drowning, you're saying, why isn't this boat nicer? Why isn't this a yacht? Why'd you only save me in a fucking dinghy, you worthless piece of shit? Why didn't you bring out the whole fucking cruise for me? How dare you save me in this shitty vessel? Just go fuck yourself, man. Like, I can't even... Go fuck yourself multiple times.
Because no matter what we say or do, we're going to keep getting attacked and threatened unless you do something. The ball is fully in your court now, and I hope that this can stop. But we just need to know if you knew that the role was empty because of strike, or if you didn't know. Doesn't matter about location. Anyone can see that this is going on.
I hope you lose your job. All of them. You're so disgusting, it's unbelievable.
This comment didn't go well for Kiba Walker, as people responded saying things like, wow, to say the ball is quote-unquote in his court when 5 yays or so sent their rabid fan bases to attack him is actually crazy. Foreigners aren't expected to strike for something their labor laws already protect them from.
How is it that with every message sent, the situation only gets worse? Do they not realize that with every message they send, they're losing followers, they're pissing more people off, Jacob's getting more followers, his tweets are getting more likes. It's just at a certain point, you guys have to recognize that, like, maybe this isn't helping. Maybe like us taking action and writing these messages and saying these things, it's not helping our cause. So maybe we should just stop. The easiest thing to do in this situation is just not post something, is just not say something. But we are out here just committing career suicide for fun. We're doing it just for fun. Repeatedly, over and over and over and over again. I don't get it. Everyone's doing it. It's like, it's a new flavor of the month. Just kill your career for fun.
Kiba Walker responds saying, no one sent fan bases to attack him. You realize that's what y'all are doing, right? Like, read the text straight up. No one at all said, go attack him for doing this. Your community is sending death threats and talking about people's dead relatives.
What happened? Bro got cooked so hard. What happened when he got cooked so hard? Let me just see here, because this is an older video. Oh, maybe we had a little bit of a, maybe we're regretting a little bit here. Looks like Kiba misplayed quite severely. Ooh, ouch, ouch. Damn, maybe we just shouldn't have been a little bitch. Maybe we just shouldn't have been an insufferable fucking asshole to somebody that didn't deserve it. Maybe we should have recognized that us being a complete fucking dick to somebody that's done absolutely nothing wrong isn't really a great move for our careers, especially when we're a public figure like this. But I guess you only really learn from failure, don't you? In all honesty, a complete fucking failure by this person to be a good and decent human being. And even though they deleted their tweet, unfortunately, it's still in this video. So I'm just gonna go tell this person to go fuck themselves. But it sounds like, based off of this, they've already done it. So, yeah, maybe they can do it again.
How is that equivalent? BFR. But Kiba gets ratioed. People say, this is so embarrassing. You guys literally brought this upon yourselves for this exact behavior. He has no obligation to tell you his business. Those threats are disgusting plus wrong, but don't sit here on his post threatening him after he just offended you. Another saying,
so
funny
true.
how you people aren't demanding the other VAs to tell people not to send hate when they start everything.
But it's only bad when we get hate. Do you imagine how many people have probably told Jacob Takanashi to go do stuff in Minecraft? Think about every single fan Kaylee Mills has. Think about every single fan that Karina Paimon has. Think about how many all these VAs that were just going out and shit-talking him. Imagine what all their fans sent him. We don't think about that, though. We're literally only thinking about ourselves. I'm pretty sure bro has gotten more than 30 times the threats than any of these other people have. And, like, he's just not posting about it because he's not a pussy. Because, you know, he doesn't think it's going to help the discussion. So, yeah, I mean, yeah. You just got to think about it that way.
Then we got Little Karibo again saying, the fandom is in a frenzy, and no matter what any other voice actor says, they're getting shouted down. I don't think it's fair to put it all in Jacob's corner, he says with a question mark. But unfortunately right now, he is the only person the fandom is likely to listen to. And lastly, there's this comment that reads,
why do you think that he's the only person the fandom is willing to listen to? Because you're all a bunch of fucking little babies, and he's the only person in the discussion that doesn't look like a complete fucking idiot. And because you're all acting so stupid, or maybe you just are this stupid, nobody actually wants to listen to you. And so they want to listen to the only adult in the room, who just unfortunately happens to be Jacob. That's kind of just what it is. Don't blame him for not speaking. How about you blame yourselves for being so fucking dumb that you've ruined any and all credibility you've ever had in the entire space? Why don't we just, instead of blaming everybody else, why don't we just blame ourselves? Because this was a self-inflicted issue by every VA that spoke out against him. Completely self-inflicted issue because you don't know cause and effect at a basic angle. You can't understand public perception, and you have the emotional maturity of fucking teenagers to imagine that anything is actually his fault. And then wording it like it is has angered such a huge majority of the population that you're kind of just at odds with every single party here. For a good reason.
No one can control their fans, and in this case, most people for this VA aren't his fans particularly. They just dislike people dogpiling him. But
true.
Here's where it gets really crazy, and then seems to come to an abrupt end. This user Vexed says, reminder, none of these VAs know Jacob either, so why are they attacking him for taking the role? He didn't even know the strike was happening. This person responds and says, you sure about that? And then Kiba Walker says, I know Jacob fairly well actually, lol. But Jacob Takanashi responds to her and refutes that, saying,
oh, he already did clap back. You remember how earlier in the video I was saying I can't wait for this guy to go off in a blip? He already did it. Bro is speedrunning legendary status. Bro is speedrunning the platinum achievements, all the trophies. Oh my god. Okay, I got...
No disrespect, but we've had a handful of conversations about contracts and licensing and stuff. I'm sure you're a nice enough person, but I don't think we know each other quote-unquote fairly well. I don't mean that in a mean way, please don't take it that way, but we're basically strangers.
I took secondhand damage from that one. That is like, man, not even related to the situation, and I got hurt. Like, I got like a little bit of a pit in my stomach just reading that. That was a critical hit with like 400% critical damage.
Little Karibo and Kiba Walker both responding to Jacob there. Kiba saying, I know you well enough to at least have some sort of knowledge of what's going on, and people are acting like we've never talked.
Mr. Q to just stop responding, by the way. When you said you know him, and the guy said he doesn't really know you, stop insisting that you know him. Stop insisting that you do know him when he's literally on public record saying that he doesn't know you.
So fairly was a bad term, that's my bad. I'm over here batting off people attacking everyone. And above that, we can see Little Karibo responding saying, genuinely, if you're interested in clarifying anything, I honestly think it should be whether you knew about the strike or not.
Look at this guy. He's just over here. He's just like, come on, keep saying if you knew about the strike. Please, please. It's totally going to change everything if you say yes or no. We need to know now. Bro's just like out here fishing. And like all Jacob has to do is just tell him, dude, I honestly just want Jacob to write down like this one singular statement. He's probably going to get in trouble if he says it, but I just really want to see him. I just really want to see it. I want to see Jacob just tell all these people, go fuck yourself. Straight up. Like in proper caps, in proper pronunciation, like with a period at the end, just go fuck yourself to every single person shit talking him. I'm pretty sure the response would be legendary. Each one would go viral. 1,000,000%. I feel like it would get him in trouble with Hoyo if he said it, but honestly, I feel like Hoyo would kind of be down for it. It would be the best thing ever if he did that.
It would go a long way toward clearing things up and easing tensions for everyone, not your familiarity with a person who was dealing with death threats. And this user Payel saying to Jacob, man, I feel really bad for you. I hope you're holding up well despite all of this. Finally, going back to this previous message that Little Kribo made, wherein Little Kribo had in part said, with respect, tensions would decrease significantly if you recognized and spoke publicly on the fact that voice actors aren't quote-unquote bullying you. This user Winry responding, saying they are bullying him. They could have talked to him privately instead of making these mean public tweets.
True. Now everyone's over here making like fucking damage control. They're like, they've obviously been shit talking him. They've been trying to ruin his reputation and his career before it's barely even started. We got people like June Yoon. I don't know why you're being such a fucking asshole, but he's just like, I've got to say, are you Japanese or Japanese American able to portray a 20s male character? Yeah, everybody's okay except for that one. Like, okay, now we're just subtweeting like we're in fucking high school. Okay, yeah, very mature. Yes, I'm pretty sure people want to keep hanging out with you when you have the emotional maturity of somebody that's about 20 years younger than you actually are.
And showing a screenshot of this voice actor June Yoon in a tweet where he says, say, are you Japanese or Japanese American, able to portray a 20s male character, can sing,
like such a weak person,
an excellent home studio. I've got a couple of colleagues in mind, but I would like to know more voice actors. Except that one guy. Of course, this is just one.
So weak. Like, just mentally fucking unequipped. Just such a little fucking baby. So pathetic.
Example of many of the various disparaging remarks we have seen directed towards Jacob Takanashi
and there's no way you can be this much of a little bitch when you look this old.
Over the last number of days, many of which I covered in my previous videos on this topic. And lastly, it seems like at some point after Kiba Walker's discussion with Jacob Takanashi, she put her entire account into protected.
Let me just look something up. I feel like I just gotta get some of the glue when it comes to this situation. This is Kiba Walker's work history. Honestly, you know what the problem is? Bro's probably salty as fuck. I'd probably be salty too, now that I think about it. All this guy voices are fucking NPCs, and then he had like somebody just come in and take on the role of Kanish. This guy's probably just jealous as fuck. Holy shit, no. This guy's just jealous as shit. 1,000,000%. He's green with fucking envy. Half of the people talking out right now and talking shit about this guy, they're probably just jealous. We're just a little baby boy, and all we got to voice was Kudari. This guy's over here voicing a fucking 5-star limited unit. We're so mad, it's unbelievable. And now we got fucked so hard in the public space, we had to protect and private our own Twitter. Man, he's gonna need to renovate his home to put on new shelves to hold all of these fucking L's. Unbelievable.
Mode. And I think that'll do it for today's update. As always, thank you so much for tuning in. Let me know what you think about all that stuff in the comments. Please also consider liking and or subscribing if you enjoyed the coverage. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and I'll see you in the next one.
Yeah, I gotta say, great coverage from Hirohei. One thing I do wish that we could have seen was more comments from CN regarding the issue that are a little bit more modern. But when we know that CN is already making spicy-ass posts like this, when they don't even know the full details about the SAG-AFTRA strike, I could imagine that the comments have, you know, probably gotten to the point where they're, like, wishing... So maybe it's good that we're not covering those for now. But overall, I would say great coverage. A lot of the recent tweets and a lot of breakdowns of the situation. Hopefully you all enjoyed the insight that I was able to provide into the matter, because boy, oh boy, it's so shocking to see so many people not able to just be a decent fucking human being and, you know, just support somebody else who's taking on a role, right? When it's clear that all the details were murky as shit, and there was so much deception going on. And I am now glad that a lot of the VAs have decided to just shut up and stop sharing words on the matter, because boy, oh boy, every single thing that's being posted and every single thing these clowns are saying is just making the entire issue worse. So with that, let me know what you all thought about this. Peace.